Hello there. Apologies for being late. Had to get my microphones out of the recording booth. But anyways, I wish to give a huge shout out to my active patron members. Azura Akumor, Halo Golden, Canuck, Time Calm, Knock on Wood, Nobody at All, Agoltha, Ragecat 888, Amy Wires, Fortune, Hermes, The Octohat, Kara, Dzib, Roseboud, Shadow Caliber 01, Nunberg, Fish Salad, Antari Akiyama, Sarha Smith, William Hale, Valkyr Tunno, the fan of a truly iconic Foxo, Galahad, Salgor Agaris, Marisa Kursivasame, Benefer the Potato, Genetic Zero, William Coles, ZT Mackin, Songbird, Kyra, Void Dweller, T35, Vibe, Morning Owlet, Elster's Shiny Things, Tarses, Jessica, Amy Olgers, Tiny Portal, Chloe, Vera the Space Witch, Ellipses, CM Fireflies, Some Guy, Ghost 48, Joanna, Indigo, Kai, Danny Babani, Banana Busboat, TGSTGA, Liliana Sakrovia, Jockey Rain, Breedable Vaporeon, Eden, Mick Shepherd, Artemis Lake, Captain Aardvark 986, Zendrika, Billy Adams, Hazel, Archibald, Bluegoo, Alice, Gulick 92, Nova the Artist, Prophecy Fulfilled, DFA Plays, Robot Waifu, and Bloodmoth. Thank you so very much for all of your support. It truly means the universe to me. And now, without further ado, hello. Hi. I completely forgot that I had that menu open. But anyways, hi. Hello there. Welcome. So very good to be back. Hey Spyro, and hello Black Wolf. Welcome. I trust that there is no feedback. I trust that everything is okay. I certainly hope it is, because otherwise I don't know what I will do. I will probably scream. Well, maybe not scream. Screaming wrecks the throat too easily. Ugh, but hey, how's your day been going so far? Mine has been a little bit relaxing, a little bit slow, a little bit lax, but otherwise it's been doing really good. Goodness me, the heat. Oh, the heat has been absolutely killing me. Been killing me and big sister Akira as well. Unfortunately, Akira's been going out a lot today, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm incredibly worried because it's really hot out there, and I don't want Akira to be out in the heat as much, especially during the summer months. Inspired by a fanfic, says Spyro? Oh, I see. Ah, I see. A lazy day, huh, Black Wolf? Also, welcome, Loot Crate. Hello. It is so very good to see you again. Please, pull up a chair, sit down, relax. Today is going to be a little bit of a fun one. We're still probably gonna be drawing the same shapes that we typically have been. Squares, triangles, circles, but we'll wait on that for a little bit. For now, I think that it's important that we just sit down and have a chat. Mainly because, well, life. Life is a combination of stress and other factors. But, despite the stress, I quite like it. I think that life is quite excellent right now. Spar says, debating whether or not to pay €5 to turn my horse into a Pegasus. You can just do that? You can turn a horse into a Pegasus with €5? How does that work? Is that like a video game logic sort of thing, or is this like an IRL thing, in which case I am severely confused? Spar says just a visual change, I'm afraid. I understand, I think. Oh, goodness me. I get exhausted incredibly easy. Hello, Ashiv. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Please pull up a chair. It's in a game, but in real life, yes, I would pay €5 to get a Pegasus. If Pegasus existed in real life, I would assume that there would be some heavy regulation on them. Especially considering that if they could fly about as easily as they could in fiction. Yeah, I think they would have some serious regulation on them. Any domesticated Pegasi that you would encounter most commonly, I would believe they would most likely be fixed in some way so that their wings could not fly. Because I expect our government to do horrible things like that. Too easy to escape. Just another one of the horrible things that our country would most likely do if fictional creatures were real. Hello, Amy Byers. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Please pull up a chair. Sit down, relax, and enjoy the show. It is very, very good to be streaming again. I've been having a heck of a week. Went into the doctor's, no, not the doctor's office, the dentist's office yesterday. That was incredibly interesting. And a little bit troubling too. I always feel a sense of, well, for lack of a better word, horror when it comes to considering my own body in the physical sense. It is incredibly discomforting in a lot of ways. But otherwise, I made it through the dentist visit without much note. Typically, I'm afraid of needles. Are you afraid of needles? I am typically very, very afraid of needles. But when I was confronted with this particular needle this time around, I wasn't scared. Not in the usual way that I was. I wasn't, like, scared of getting stuck with it. Because I had been through this song and dance so many times by this point. At this point, I wasn't really afraid of it because I knew that I could deal with the pain. There is still a lingering, like, puncture wound, which I am incredibly confused by. But other than that, I handled it rather well, I believe. I mostly just laid back, sat back, and just joked about with the dentists who are on site. They were having a little bit of a day that day. A little bit short-staffed, which made me a little bit nervous, but ultimately they were very, very kind people. I understand, Spyro. Yeah, if you are using needles daily, like especially like for stuff like insulin and estrogen, you stop fearing them as much because they are then expected. Ah, welcome, Marcy Beast. Please pull up a chair, take a seat, and enjoy the rest of the show. Donating blood. Donating blood is actually where I developed my original fear of needles, especially when it concerned drawing the precious red ichor from my body. Ugh. Oh, goodness. Yes, I believe I've told this story so many times, but here it is again, just for the refresher. I was in the doctor's office, you know, giving blood, because for some reason I just wanted to. That or I was getting tested for something. I can't really remember which one. But then they had me with an automatic needle. It was basically supposed to automatically retract when it was done. And everything was fine, up until I heard this metallic clicking sound when it was, like, retracted from my body. And by that point, it felt like someone had just shoved some form of nauseous knife into my gut. Instantaneously, according to them, I went extremely pale, and I was experiencing extreme nausea. Basically, I had gone into shock because of that automatic needle. I remember the drawing of the blood going by incredibly easy, but when it was retracted, that's when I went into shock. It was an incredibly, jarring experience, and I wasn't keen to repeat it. I remember I was about 15 when that happened, so going into shock at 15 isn't really the best. Shiv says it's my blood. You can't have it. Well, I mean, in games such as Dark Souls and Elden Ring, my blood is apparently free for everyone's taking, so... It is the Fenthir blood drive. Come today, receive a pintful of blood, and perhaps my head on a spike, too. Shiv says, depends on if they fly through magic or not. If they don't use magic, then they would provide insight into the ratios of flight. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's okay, Black Wolf. It was 10 years ago now. Goodness me. It's a little bit hard to think that me being 15 was 10 years ago. Well, technically me being 14 was 10 years ago. It won't be exactly 10 years until September, when I turn 25. I'm going to be 25 this year. I don't quite know how to feel about that. A quarter of a century I have been on this earth. It is a jarring experience. It is a little bit disconnecting. I feel a little bit disconnected from the past. I believe that we've crossed the halfway point, as it were. We are now closer to 2050 than we were the year 2000. So basically, I'm closer than ever before to being a half century old, which is woohoo. Mortality. I didn't expect to hit me quite as hard. I thought that I had gone through all of my mortality, anxieties when I was 20. When I was on the bus daily going to and from college on my own. Just a freshly out trans girl just going on the bus daily, going to and from college. When everything was, still going on, when the COVID scandal happened. Well, scandal isn't really the right word. Crisis. Crisis would probably be the right word. Marcy says, it's really weird. I'm 27 now, and yep. Eshev existential dread never leaves. That is true. That is incredibly true. Existential dread really, truly never leaves. It is ever present. It is a constant presence in one's life. You experience it once and it sticks. I had this sort of thought. I don't know if I had it last night or a couple days ago, but that cosmic dread, that existential dread, when it pushes you into seeking out any coping mechanism that you can latch onto, like spiritualism or religion or any chances of an afterlife, I believe that that is true cosmic madness, like what is portrayed in, a lot of media with Cthulhu and stuff like that. Like with the King in Yellow and stuff. When you are exposed to a fundamental truth of the universe, and then your mind just is sent reeling, looking for any means to steady itself, and you can't. Not really. You either latch on to something that is fundamentally false, or you settle onto the truth. You cling to that as your raft. Like, if nothing else, this fundamental truth, this fundamental constant of the universe, that is the truth. I remember when I was young and I tried to be spiritual. And I really, really did try. I really, really did. I prayed for a multitude of things. Prayed for my blood mother to get a job. I prayed for our financial situation to get better. I prayed for my siblings to be safe. I prayed for my own safety. I prayed for the hitting to stop. And in some of my darker days, I prayed for it all to end. I prayed for everything to just simply stop. Because it all got so much. I knew then, but not as much as I know now, that I am fundamentally flawed. I have a brain that does think, but not perfectly. I know that my brain is flawed. That there is something fundamentally wrong with it, that I don't think precisely as I feel I should. That I'm not 100% logical. Not in the sense of removing emotion, 100% logical, just I can't be 100% objective about everything. I know that there is always something that I'll get wrong. And in that, me being wrong will hurt people. And I dislike that. I dislike that an awful lot about myself. I dislike this fundamental weakness of myself. I guess that is that fundamental weakness that led me to praying in the first place. This insistence on trying to use logic to find a source of power. A source of power that logically cannot exist. I prayed to whoever might have been listening out there. And if there was something out there that might have been listening to me, either it wouldn't have cared, or it would have been extremely horrifying to experience as a child. Absolutely incomprehensible. Ultimately, though, I am glad, in a sense, that none of my wishes in this regard came true. That I didn't experience anything from the beyond other than my own thoughts, the conversations that I would have with myself. I won't say I was alone, per se. I have 2 blood siblings in the universe. Both of whom want absolutely nothing to do with me, and I think that's fair. But time was, we were pretty much inseparable. Wherever they went, I wasn't typically far behind. And yet, despite being with them, I felt isolated. Not entirely alone, just I don't feel like, and this is like the key part here, I didn't feel like my opinions held much weight. Whether or not they actually did, I think is a little bit removed from the discussion. Maybe they did. Maybe my opinions held more weight than I assumed they did. But at that time, I just feel like they didn't. Welcome, Winter. Please pull up a chair. I'm busy having like a slight rant about the past. So yes, you are here experiencing this virtual fox rant about her past yet again, because I don't have much better to do. Except for draw, which we will get to. We will get to in a bit. Where was I? Ah, yes. Isolation. It's something that I only really understood, at least started to understand, when I went to that one Christmas party. For context, if you don't already know from other times that I've told this story, my blood grandfather on my father's side, he would regularly hold Christmas parties. Year after year, whenever they fell, it was a magical occasion. They wouldn't often be on Christmas Eve, but when they did fall on Christmas Eve, it felt magical to me. I always loved hanging out. But more often than not, when me and my blood siblings would go, I would most likely just be off by myself. I wouldn't speak that much. I wasn't often, like, there. I wasn't, like, present in the moment. I was mostly just thinking. Getting lost in my thoughts is a regular occurrence for me. But this one Christmas party, I was not with my blood siblings because at that time, well, by that time, my blood father and my blood mother had separated. It wasn't like a full divorce. I think that only just got finalized this year, if it has been at all, which I'll have to ask about. But back then, they were physically separated. He had run off with his... I think it was the drummist. The drummer. Yeah, most like. And currently they have been living in just one town over, so not exactly walking distance, mind. And on that particular Christmas Eve, I had basically gotten an invitation that I knew only I could accept. Because my blood siblings wanted absolutely nothing to do with him, and I was the only one who wanted to reach out by that point. Granted, I don't know if things have changed between them over these past couple of years. I don't know if their attitudes have softened towards him in any regard. From what I understand, they've not softened their hearts in any regard. I can understand it. I used to hold similar venom to them. The only difference being is I can't live like that. I keep running off track. I keep trying to get to the point, but I keep shooting off into little side tangents, as I so often do. Anyways, I accepted this invitation to not only go to my grandfather's Christmas party with my father, but I also agreed to spend the night afterwards at his place. And it was fun. I think that of my time being there, that was some of the best time of my life. Because at that point, life, it held a certain bittersweet hope to it, like things could change, like things could be better. I still feel that hope, but it has been tempered by experience. So I'm there. I'm in a big red and black dress. If you look at like some of the past posts that I made, like of a couple of years ago in the community posts, you'll most likely find it. It's a big red and black dress. I wore that to the Christmas party. It was elegant. I think it was one of the nicer things that I wore. And for the very last Christmas party that I ever attended, at my grandfather's, I think that it was great. I'm there, and then I get to talking to my aunt. And she told me that I was a lot more talkative, that I engaged more then more than ever before, that I just held a certain light about myself, that I was eager to talk, eager to chatter my little mouth out. And it was at that moment that I really understood that I didn't really want to be a part of a matched set. That I desperately didn't like it. That it felt like... It's a little bit like being a part of the Borg from Star Trek. Just a little bit. Granted, it's like not a one-to-one analog. It just felt like my opinions, my wants, my hopes and dreams, they got drowned out by being near my blood siblings, because most of the conversations happened around them, and I was more or less content at that point to just shut my little mouth and stay in the corner, and only really converse when it was expected of me. I realized that I didn't really have a lot of time to form, like, opinions. I mean, sometimes. Sometimes I would have my own opinions about things, and sometimes they would be quite strong opinions. Like, if someone suggested that I do something that I don't want to do, yeah, then I would have extremely strong opinions about that. But when it's like large groups, and the conversations are going on around me, and there would be a simultaneous feeling of slowness and overwhelm, and I would just get lost in my own thoughts. Because in this sort of place, then I could just simply relax and take things easy and escape from the world around me for a time. Compounded with a lot of other issues, I think that's when it all started. I don't know if you quite know, but I dissociated a lot. I still kind of dissociate sometimes. Not as often anymore. There's not a lot of times where my brain splits open and I just flee into it. When I was younger, I would dissociate so much. Again, I might have already told this story. Right now, I kind of want to tell it again, and I do apologize. I dissociated so much. I would look through people. It most often happened when I was, like, in big trouble with my blood mother, and she was lecturing me for the Updean's time about something or another. I've grown quiet again. It was that sort of practice of when she was just there talking and yelling and then just back to talking again. I got into the practice of looking behind her, at the walls, then at the ceilings and floors, and just picture the room as it was, just without her there. And in those moments, I could almost make myself believe that my blood mother wasn't in the same room as me. I would push back against the world and look at my surroundings through phantom eyes. I would look at myself, I would look at her, I would look at everything else. But I just wouldn't be there in the moment. I was elsewhere. Do you know what that's like? Do you know what that's like to just look at the entire world as a phantom? I feel like it's a little bit of crazy talk of me. But yeah, I would dissociate. And then those dissociation moments would grow bigger, and I would just have more conversations with myself. Internal conversations, not conversations out loud, not all of the time. Only when I was, like, alone. It took us a long time to realize what had happened to us. That we had essentially not, like, majorly split, but partially. In a lot of ways, our psychological state is complicated. It hasn't stopped being complicated, not for 1 second. And in a lot of ways, it is hard. In a lot of ways, it is hard and complicated and aggravating and anxiety-inducing. Hey, Nathan Hunt, welcome. Please pull up a chair. Yeah, I'm mostly just chattering on about the past, what had happened, and a little bit about how it's affecting me these days. I think that the catalyst of this was that we were talking about cosmic horror and dread, and then I started rambling on into how I used to be spiritual, and then it just sort of led to this. When you talk to yourself a lot, it's not long until someone starts talking back. And that someone is yourself. It is a part of yourself. That was my experience. In those moments where I was so sad, where I was just curled up in my room as a kid, there was a voice that would just narrate how pathetic I was, how small and insignificant and, honest to God, how stupid I was. have a name for that voice now. And she's still here. She is still with me. She's quiet a lot of the times these days. But she's got her own name. She's got her own quirks, her own voice. I've given names to pretty much all the voices that live inside of my skull. And I'm not just, like, talking about my characters and whatnot, although I do give voice to them, obviously. But I have been split open. I'm not a whole person. I am very much broken. Broken by myself, and broken by my blood family, and broken by the wider world. I don't really hold much in the way of venom towards the world, because what would be the point of that? I don't bear much venom for my blood family, excepting perhaps two individuals, my blood uncle and his sister, my blood mother. I hold a particular bit of venom for them, and it is one of the reasons why I say that I am broken. I don't think it's the mark of a healthy person to dislike and outright hate the woman that brought you into this world. I don't think it's a sign of a healthy person to be this. I want to be indifferent to my blood mother's existence. I desperately want that. I desperately do. I want to live my day-to-day life and just don't think about her. And more often than not, I don't. More often than not, my thoughts are more focused on the here and now. What am I going to listen to for music? Or a video to watch? Or do I want to hang out with my big sister, Kira? Do I want to enjoy time talking with friends? And if it's a working day, what am I going to be talking about on stream and stuff? It used to be a lot harder. I used to be thinking about... I used to be thinking about my blood mother constantly. Constantly. Just bouncing back and forth between the question of why. Why? And being angry and wanting to lash out and just going back to wishing that I could stop thinking about all of this, that I could stop ruminating on it, that I could just get on with my life. Because life is a lot more than just thinking about the people who wronged you. I want to be better than that. I want to be so much better than that. Invariably, I do. I don't feel disappointed that much anymore. I know that I am incrementally so healing. You don't have to worry that much about my healing. I will. I know I will. I am thankful to not be as damaged as I could have been. That I managed to escape when I did. That I managed to slowly claw my way through life and to go to therapy and stuff and try to reason my way forward. Does that make any sense? I don't think I'm making much sense, actually. Yeah, I'm okay. Mostly. I had to take a second and really just gather my thoughts again. I'm simultaneously going to be okay and not entirely alright now, if that makes any lick of sense, which I'm sure it might not. I know that things will be better. Goodness me. I don't make sense. I'm going to pick up my drawing tablet now. Let us be a mad little artist. Let us put feelings on a page and draw circles and squares and triangles while listening to Deltarune music. Because why not? Come on. There we go. I think for just like a wild second there, my thoughts just ground to a complete halt. You ever just have those moments where you just don't know what to think or feel in a particular moment? I get those far too often than is for my comfort. Lettuce. Indeed, Amy Byers. Lettuce. And I'm gonna put on my fancy dancy glove. Because I have a fancy dancy little drawer's glove. That came with this little drawing tablet. Do-do-do. Alrighty. Let's begin. Right. And I keep forgetting that I can't see the chat like this, so... Hi, chat. USB device not recognized. The last USB device. Oh gosh, please don't tell me that it malfunctions. Yay, it works. Just needed to unplug it and re-plug it back in. There we go. Hi. And this time I'm not going to worry too much about time. Let us practice for as long as we want, and no farther. I think that I have become a little bit more consistent with these triangles. Though these squares do need a little bit more work. We shall progress at our own pace, and at the end of it all, I'm pretty sure that we'll be happy where we end up. And if not, we just keep moving forward. I suppose that is how I should handle things. Just continuously moving forward. Indeed, you're your average YouTube enjoyer. Everything shakes out alright in the end. Or as Hades says in the Disney movie of Hercules, relax, it's only halftime. I wonder if I could draw Professor Layton's hat. hat of a true gentleman. Ah, yes, Professor Layton. Right, how about I take this opportunity to dim this layer just a little bit. And then we try for some line art. Oops. All good, we have a wondrous thing called a undo key, the Control Z. I'm about to do a ghost check Phantom Detective. I've never actually played Phantom Detective. Perhaps I should at some point. It's been an age since I've played a Professor Layton game. Oh, that feels spectacular. Now let's hide this layer entirely and... What a dapper gentleman. Hi, Time Marshal. Welcome. Yeah, the art style of Professor Layton is just absolutely wonderful. Voila! We have given him an ear. I am doing the best I can. I wonder. Alright, time to zoom out a little. Honestly, not the worst job we've ever done, no. I once actually contemplated sending Dad a video of, you know, basically a Deltarune meme. I wanted to send Dad a Deltarune meme. But then I remembered that he probably doesn't know what Deltarune is. And he most likely wouldn't get it. It's like, if only there was someone I could eat moss with around here. Hello, Artemis. I heard Deltarune. I have been summoned. Honestly, best way to de-stress after having existential crises about one's own existence. At some point, I do want to try drawing Chris from Deltarune. What if I drew a bean? Yeah, bean. Yeah, let's draw beans. Yeah, beans. You're gonna eat that bean? Someone's gonna take one look at me and say, "This bitch eating beans!" Beans! My beans!
Me and the shadow demons at 4 a.m. looking for beans! Put shadow demons at the end of the hall, and me and the boys at 4 a.m. looking for beans!
Come over here, Cutiefox. Say hi to the nice Chad.
Hi, Chad. Hi, Foxo. Cutiefoxo. What do you think, Chad? Cutiefoxo of all time?
Ah. No, I'm not. I've mostly just been complaining this entire, stream. Also, what do you think of this? What do you think of this magnificent boy? Okay, 3 guesses. Chat, don't tell her. Huh? Yep, there you go.
Not bad for someone who never played the game.
I have played all 3 of the original games as well as the Spectre. But other than that, I've not played the rest of the titles of the series.
Also, can I get a hello from the good girls, the good boys, and the good NBs? Hello, Sadoko. Satoko Sorens. Hello. The good guys, the good gals, and the good non-binary pals. Thank you, Big Sis. Hey, Bracing Star. Welcome. Hello, Time Marshal. Yes, I'm having a relatively good week. How are you doing, Time Marshal? Hot as goodness out there, isn't it? Oh, I see. I see. Most excellent. I'm gonna try to draw another banana. Is it the time for the reappearance of Banunu? That looks more like a chili pepper. No, Banunu the Fourth. All praise Banunu. Time to draw rhomboids. Rhomboids, rhombuses? Whatever you so wish to call them. What about a mushroom? Can I draw a mushroom? Would it be acceptable to draw a toadstool? It's a giant mushroom.
Maybe it's friendly.
Oh, goodness. Alright, I think I'm gonna take a quick break from drawing for a little bit. Oh my goodness. Okay, it's funny to me because of Avatar The Last Airbender. Because in Avatar The Last Airbender, you have this character called Sokka, who gets high off of cactus juice, and then when Aang gets a bit angry and causes a gigantic, explosion up in the distance, causing a mushroom cloud of sand, Sokka just thinks that it's a big, fluffing mushroom. Hence why I sort of yelled out, maybe it's friendly. Because that's what he says. Hang on a second.
The Sokka mushroom clown. Oh, it. Hang on a second. Hang on. I am so gonna get copyright claimed for this. I don't care. She giant friend.
Drink cactus juice. It'll quench ya. Nothing's quenchier. It's the quenchiest.
Giant mushy friend. This is what cactus juice does to a man. Shroom. So getting claimed later. I don't care. It's funny. Giant mushy friend.
Goodness gracious, my humor is just broken. My humor is not only annihilated, it has been consumed by the giant mushroom.
Artemis says he'll probably get claimed, but it was worth it.
Absolutely. But that was worth it.
Amy Wire says, I think this is what would happen if I had one sip of alcohol.
Nah, this would be what happens if I was suddenly just wired off of, ironically, mushrooms.
Racing Star says, how can one be drunk by cactus juice?
I don't think that it was necessarily drunkenness. I think Sokka was just high. I think Sokka was high off of whatever the cactuses were producing.
Racing says, that'll happen to me when I drink coffee.
Oh goodness, I'm probably gonna brew myself some more coffee later. I like coffee. Coffee's good. Coffee is delicious. Coffee's life. Time Marshall says, what you doing this weekend, Cutiefox? Mostly just looking at dental stuff. And trying to make ends meet. Because, yeah. Nathan says, well, they were in a desert. Maybe it was the heat. No. No, it wasn't the heat. Because we could see precisely what happened after Sokka drank it. And afterwards, after he gets completely sober off of the cactus juice, he sticks another foreign substance into his mouth. Which is like, why? Why would you do this, sir? Amy Wire says, don't do cactus, kids. It'll quench ya. Nothing's quenchier. It's the quenchiest. Time Marshall says, just wish it was Friday tomorrow. Well, good news. Friday is in 2 days. Blackwell says, can cactus juice really do that to anyone? It depends on the cactus, I think. I think that there are some cactuses that do have some unique properties to them. Barrel cacti? Huh, barrel cacti. Let me look this up. Barrel cactus from Wikipedia. Some species of barrel cactus reach over 1 meter in height at maturity and have been known to reach 3 meters in some regions. Ribs are numerous and pronounced, and the spines are long and can range in color from yellow to tan to red, depending on the age of the plant and the species. Flowers appear at the top of the plant only after many years. The barrel cactus can live to be over 100 years old. Barrel cactus buds typically start to bloom in April with a bright yellow or orange flower. Pink and red varieties also exist but occur less frequently. The flowers only appear on the very top of the plant. As the flowers begin to wilt in early May, they may change color. A light summer North American monsoon desert rainstorm can produce a late bloom, as shown in the photograph below of the orange-flowered variety. It bloomed 2 days after a hurricane in mid-August and continued to bloom through the end of September. As the flowers wilt away, small pineapple-shaped greenish fruit may form. Left untouched, the fruit has been known to last a full calendar year. The fruit can be easily removed, but it is not usually consumed because it is fairly dry and bitter. Barrel cacti are cultivated by plant nurseries as an ornamental plant. They are considered easy to grow and relatively fast-growing. They may produce round offshoots. Barrel cacti can fall over because they grow based on sun orientation. They usually grow towards the sun to prevent surface tissue sunburn, giving the name compass cactus. Oi. And that's just from the Wikipedia page. I'm going to have to do some more research sometime. There are many species of cacti, I believe, that grow around Arizona. Me and Akira definitely have taken note of several large specimens, none traveling between Arizona and California. It is definitely, like, an unusual sight, especially in either the early morning or the late evenings, when you reach the twilight hours and there isn't a visible sun in the sky. And whenever the cactuses become shadows, silhouettes against the backdrop of the sky, it definitely becomes a little bit eerie. At some point, I would definitely like to go into a place where there isn't that much light pollution and just look up at the sky. Me and Akira ought to do that sometime. Have you ever just wanted to go into a place with low light pollution and just look up at the sky, at the stars? I think that would be a marvelous experience. Actually, I think that might be a good weekend plan if I can convince Akira to. Actually, yeah. Hey, Demon Fox Akira, do you want to go looking at the stars during the weekends? If I'm able to, I think I might be able to catch pictures of the stars. If I'm able to. Not gonna say that I am able to until I can. Oh, it's definitely gonna be a good night if I can catch, like, photos of the night sky. Aether says, I know this is off topic, but I use Wallpaper Engine and I have Ruby version 9 worthy scene as my background. If I ever click off of what I was on, I hear it. I just heard, you have cat ears, and I instinctively said, no, I have bunny ears, out loud, and then realized it was my wallpaper and started dying of laughter at what I did. Next Saturday work? Yes! Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. We're gonna have to find a place that has, like, low-level light pollution. Right. Let's actually do a little bit of that research right now, actually. Best to venture at least 20 to 30 miles away from the city limits to find darker skies. Areas like South Mountain Park, Dame Hills Recreation Area, and locations further north of the city offer better opportunities for viewing the night sky. Light pollution is to put it bluntly, it's a bitch. I don't like light pollution. It is a consequence of man's need for electronic lights, which I get. Lights like these are incredibly useful. However, we've lost the night sky as a consequence. One of the things that I think drives discovery was just looking up at the stars, which we used to be able to do, like, a lot before electronic lights became a thing. But light pollution is actually one of those forms of pollution that we can actually clean up instantly. All it takes is for everyone to turn off their lights all at once. Do that, and the light pollution instantly vanishes, and we are left with a pure sky. Probably around Sedona or Flag. Time Marshall says, Cutiefox, every show is Friday tomorrow, so I can go to the cinema. The cinema. I've not actually felt the need to go to a cinema for a long time. Ever since Avengers Endgame, I think. I think that might be the last time that... Well, no. I tell a lie. It was the shadow cast for Rocky Horror Picture Show. That was the last time I was ever in a theater. Oh, that was a brilliant day. And it was actually the very first time that I watched Rocky Horror Picture Show, when I was there to watch the Shadowcast. So, let me take you up to the lab and see what's on this slab. I see you shiver with anticipation. But maybe the rain isn't really to blame, so remove the cause. But not the symptom. I did have a blast. Artemis says if you give 100 people the choice to turn the lights on or not to stop light pollution, there will always be at least one or more want to keep the lights on, just because they can. Humans will never unite. Yeah, you're right. I used to think that if, like, aliens showed themselves, then humanity might unite against them, but we probably wouldn't even then, even if it was confirmed the aliens wanted to destroy humankind. Because there would be at least someone who wants to give the aliens a fair shake, and who wouldn't? Awesome sauce. Sounds like a wonderful idea, Demon Fox Akira. As Shiv says, those people are called traitors. Or in, like, certain AO3 fictions, they're called something else. Someone getting a little bit too friendly with plants. Okay, moving right along. Bracing says, well, humans did unite in a time of peril a few times, mostly for either common enemy or goal. Yeah, no, not all humans. Not all humans. We have a history of fighting against one another. Artemis says, creatures with the power of choice will never have aligned views. It will not and cannot happen ever.
Pretty much. Time Marshall says, which superhero you don't like? The superhero that I don't like at all. That's a very good question. Because there are a certain number of heroes that wouldn't necessarily be called heroes. Like, for example, Homelander. Homelander is, by definition, a villain, even in his own series. He is not a hero. So which hero do I not like? Like, instinctively? Like, I instinctively don't like a hero. Very, very good question. It is a very interesting question. I think that I'm somewhat stumped. What hero don't you like? What is a hero that you just instinctively don't like or don't trust? Gosh, it is such a hard question because I like most of the heroes out there, but of ones that I don't like, it's very, very hard. Because heroes, by their very nature, are meant to be likable in some way. I used to not like Superman because I didn't like the whole goody two-shoes nature of it all, but he kind of grew on me, especially after these past couple of years, because, I mean, I like a good, like, an objectively good person. If I could say it, it probably would be Injustice Superman, but he's not really a hero in Injustice. He is very firmly categorized as being a villain in the Injustice series. He becomes a villain the second that the Joker put his plan in motion. If there's... Actually, yeah, I think there is one hero that kind of started grating on me after a while, and that would have to be Thor. Thor, in a lot of the earlier movies, I think was alright. In the very first one, he was a complete and utter jerk, who needed to have been taught a lesson, and Odin did teach him a lesson. By removing his powers, his weapon, his godhood status from him. And then Thor had to prove himself. And thus does he prove himself always. Hello, Dedaria. Please pull up a chair. But yeah, then there's like this, like, there's this stretch of time after, like, his redeeming arc in the very first Thor movie. There's this arc between then and I think it was some time after Endgame that he just stopped being a likable character for me. Let me think on it a little bit more, actually. Because, like, I don't remember seeing that much of him after Endgame, actually, so... Why was he grating to me again? I can't remember. I loved his arc in the Infinity War and Endgame movies, because you see him totally collapse because he essentially fail, as Rocket so eloquently puts it. He did fail. He failed to destroy Thanos, and in doing so, Thanos killed half of the universe, and Thor feels immense guilt about it. I don't like how his weight was made into a bit of a joke, because it's very, very clear. It's very, very clear that what happened with Thanos destroyed him. And I rather like, and this is something that I agree with you, Artemis, Iron Man was a narcissistic douchebag in his very first movie. And he continues to be a narcissistic douchebag all the way up through until Age of Ultron. And in that moment, he really learns. He learns a lot more. But I think that's the entire point of his character, is the fact that he was such a narcissistic douchebag. But then he grows more aware of it and tries to change. That's the entire point of his character, is that even as an utter trash heap that he was, he could still learn, he could still grow, and he could still do better. In the very first movie, he sees the consequences of his weapons program. Of the weapons program that he and his current partner at the time had created. He created weapons, which mirrors a lot of the rampant military-industrial complex of the United States. There are a lot of weapon manufacturers who make a profit off of, well, weapons, tools of war. And a lot of those weapons and tools of war will oftentimes end up into hands of people who will hurt innocents. And in this regard, Tony Stark was just one of very, very many. And then he gets a taste of his own medicine, so to speak. He has some of his own weapons fired on him. He's taken captive. He is a tool of terrorists who want him to make more and better weapons for them. In this, he's lucky in being so quote-unquote brilliant, because then he makes the Mark I. He escapes. He creates the tiny arc reactor. He fights off his business partner, and he puts an end to the weapons program of Stark Industries, which is objectively a good move, if a financially weird one that probably made his stockholders and investors incredibly miffed with him. Because weapons sell. And they sell for a lot. And thus, it is a very strange move on the outside for Stark to stop making weapons. I think that it's a brilliant move. Because he's seen too much by that point. He had seen too much of what his weapons had done. Now, this is where things fracture a little bit for me, because I didn't get to watch Iron Man 2 or 3, so things kind of skip ahead for me. But I understand that he deals with a lot of PTSD, especially in Iron Man 3, I believe. I could be mistaken about that. He is working through a lot of the stuff that he goes through in Avengers. The very first Avengers movie, because he does the self-sacrificing play. It's an amusing thing slightly to see, because in the confrontation between him and Steve Rogers, Rogers says that Stark will always try to find a way out. He was never the type to lay on the wire, as he says, and let another guy crawl over him. And of course, Stark fires back his, like, quip about everything special that came out of him being from a bottle and stuff like that. And granted, I know, a part of that was the staff. The staff, the fuckery with the stone. I don't know. I get you, though. Stark is... Well, he was an utter douchebag to start with, and then he got better. He put the work in. He put the hours in. Up until the final sacrifice play, where he knows he's not gonna make it. He knows what the stones do. He knew from the second that he saw what happened to Thanos after he used them, that there was absolutely no way if he used them he would survive. Yeah. Sorry, I went quiet there as I was waiting, as I was reading chat. Goodness me. I kind of disagree with you, Ty Marshall. I like Captain America because... Well, I like him because he is uncompromising in his ideals. I think that he is a genuine force for good, not easily turned against the establishment. Wait. Hang on a minute. Let me back up. I think I made a mistake there. Establishment. What do I mean by that? That makes absolutely no sense to me. Why did I say that? No. I think that he has a set of morals, he hates bullies, and he wants to make sure that there are no more bullies. He wants to put a stop to them. I think that he is uncompromising in his morals, the establishment of his morals. And he flat just goes against, hell, even the laws that were meant to put, like, reins on him, in order to make sure that justice was being served. Not just, like, the written law, but the spirit of it all. Pure-hearted enough to wield Thor's hammer? Precisely. He is worthy. He is worthy to wield Thor's hammer. Artemis says, nothing was stopping anyone from taking the time stone in Iron Man's gauntlet and using it to revive Iron Man. Death in this series is very, very weird. Death in Endgame is very, very weird. And I don't agree that they should have used the time stone to revive Iron Man. I think that would have defeated the entire point. like Steve Rogers said in the first Avengers movie, Tony Stark wasn't the sort of person to lay on the wire and let another guy crawl over him. I think the entire point of that line was to set up the change in him. It was to put a pin in this moment in time, to look at his character, and then check back in on him at the very end of his character arc, when he does make the sacrifice play. As Shiv says, the sacrifice with nothing lost doesn't matter. Precisely. In story terms. If you lose nothing, you did not sacrifice. If I sacrifice an arm to save my family, if I sacrifice any limb off of me in order to save someone else, that is a sacrifice. And I believe it is a worthy sacrifice to lose one of my limbs for someone else's life. But if I, say, lost a fingernail, while painful, it's not that big of a sacrifice. Not in comparison. And if I just chipped a nail to save someone? Oh, worse. So much worse to save for, like, a broken fingernail or something. Narratively speaking, sacrifices are costly. I've not really watched Captain Marvel, so I can't make accurate judgment about her. I kind of liked her in Endgame, though. I think that she was incredibly cute. So that's definitely something. That's definitely something of my own biases. I kind of like her because she was cute. And I sometimes have this slight headcanon of a gender-bent Peter Parker being confronted by Miss Captain Marvel. And thoughts. I'm not even thinking about anything just happening there. I'm just thinking about that same conversation where he's passing on the gauntlet to them. And I'm still up. Goodness gracious. Need to really think about things for a little bit. As Shiv says, the cult of the status quo is a big issue with comics, because nothing can change since they can't kill characters because no more books. Oh, I think you meant status quo. Artemis says, Captain Marvel is a decent movie. I just don't like Captain Marvel because she fights first, asks questions later. As Shiv says, English hard. I get that. It is supposedly my first goddamn language, and yet I cannot speak it. I cannot speak it as fluently as I wish. I like her because I think she's pretty. And she has excellent characterization in Endgame. In Endgame, she talks about how the snap affected the entire universe, and not everyone has an Avengers team on their planet. So, Captain Marvel, it's a good explanation for why she's not there on the planet, because she's busy zipping across the universe, saving as many people as she can. I think that shows an excellent heart. Because she's willing to step up and do shit that no one else can at that point. Everyone is either on Earth, figuring out how to solve the problems that are on Earth, and not willing to go into space to save people that are out there, who are suffering in equal measure. And yes, she is very, very cute to me. She's very cute to me. I've never read or watched any media of the Silver Surfer, because I just have never really held much interest in him. From the outset, it's just a little bit boring to me. I see, Artemis. Time Marshall says Silver Surfer has the cosmic power. Yeah, I don't need, like, a person that has, like, inherent cosmic power abilities. Because it's not... It's not, like, a fun story for me. I like Spider-Man. Occasionally I like Superman because I like to turn my brain off and not think so hard about, you know, complex moral situations that often. I like Superman because he fights for... He fights according to his morals, and his morals are good. But Superman has his kryptonite, and I don't like people who don't have weaknesses. I think that betrays a startling lack of creativity if your character does not have a weakness. I try to introduce weaknesses into my characters pretty much every day because I want them to be flawed. I want them to be human, even if they aren't technically human. I want demons and eldritch beings to have their versions of kryptonite too. Pretty much a Shiv. He's a wholesome guy. Literally went toe-to-toe with the wizard who gave Shazam his powers because of the shit that Shazam went through. I think magic is one of the few things that Superman is weak to. And he just shows up in the magical realm anyways, like, I'm here because you fluffed up this kid's life. I think that that is a wonderful thing. That definitely puts me firmly in Superman's corner. EMP and chocolate. Oh, chocolate is good. Thinking. A Shiv says, I like how people like people who are willing to make hard decisions are celebrated. But when someone tries to fix problems, they're a villain. Glory to Latveria. Ah, Doctor Doom. His entire shtick is the fact that he is petty as shit. He is petty motherfucker. Yeah, Doctor Doom is incredibly petty. Always, like, trying to mentally duke it out with Reed Richards. And this is coming from someone who has never read or watched anything related to the Fantastic Four, and even I know the levels of beef between those two characters. Welcome, Crab Jam, please. Drop a seat. Welcome, welcome. Can't hate either of the Spideys. Yeah, I think that he's never shown any form of animosity to Peter Parker. Or Miles Morales. I can't wait for the third Across the Spider-Verse movie. I cannot wait for it. It is hype to me. I need to watch all of them back to back when that last movie comes out. I really need to. And I'm so bloody disappointed that the studio isn't going to be working on a Batman Beyond movie in the same style, because would have been so fun. Would have been so fun to get a Batman Beyond movie of the same art style. It's like, give! Are you allergic to money? Oh, thank you, Doom and Foxacura. So, like, out of the heroes that I love, gotta say, Captain America has to be one of my absolute favorites. Captain Marvel is definitely among one of my favorites. Goodness me. Deadpool. Deadpool is among my favorites. And I think my least favorite, due to the fact that I just think he's, like, such a nothing burger to me, that he's never really captivated my interest in any regard. My least favorite has to be Silver Surfer, because I just have not watched anything in him. He does not captivate my interest. He slides off of my psyche. Like a duck off of water, as Crowley would say from Good Omens. He's a nothing burger to me. Ty Marshall says, who's the best Spider-Man? Big can of worms there. I think that there are so many different versions of Peter Parker alone. I totally get that, Bracing Star. And besides, you're allowed to not like things. I personally like him because of his quips. His breaking up the fourth wall, when handled well, is handled well. When it is handled poorly, it is handled poorly. He's all over the place. He is an absolute mess, and I love him for it. A tiny bit of Deadpool, other than that, they don't interest me that much. Fair, fair. Hector says, I would say Tobey was the best mainline movie Spider-Man, but my favorite is Gwen Stacy from Across the Spider-Verse. You know what? I have to say, same. Ty Marshall, fascinating. Well done, you. Cutiefox Akira, Wolverine rants about how much Deadpool sucks to his face. Deadpool, I'm gonna fight you now. Oh, that's what you meant from your earlier comment. She makes a great Wolverine rant from the sequel. I did a version of the Wolverine rant from, you know, the Wolverine and Deadpool movie. With your permission, I would definitely like to give that one a shot. To just sort of try to voice that for your entertainment. Ooh. Water. Water is so good. The Logan's monologue from Deadpool and Wolverine. You know what? You're a fucking joke. No wonder the Avengers didn't take you. Or the X-Men. I'll take fucking anyone. I mean, you are a ridiculous, immature, half-wit moron. I've never met a sadder, more attention-starved, jabbering little prick in my entire life, and that says a lot, because I've been alive for more than 200 fucking years. And I'll tell you, that bald chick was right about one thing. You will never save the world. You couldn't even save a relationship with a goddamn stripper. Fucker, I wish I could say you could die alone, but it's one of God's best jokes that you can't die, except that's on all of us. Well, you got nothing to say? Mouth. I'm gonna fight you now. Oh, are you? Gosh, I love that. I love that rant because it's so cathartic. It is cathartic as heck. It is a voice line that releases so much anger so quick. I just can't help but smile afterwards because at that point, all my anger's gone. I just beam. Thank you so very much, Demon Fox Akira.
Gosh, that's so fun to me. It's so fun. It just says, listen here, you 16-piece chicken McNobody. Goodness gracious. Huh. Today is a good day. Di Marshall says, Cutiefox, care to guess who my favorite X-Men is? I don't feel like guessing right now. I am satisfied that your favorite X-Men is your favorite for a reason. And I think that I'll just settle it at that. If you want to tell us, feel free. If you don't, feel free. Good night, Dead Aria. Thanks for stopping by. We hope to see you again soon. Oh, your poor wife. Maybe I should do a Deadpool-type character for an ASMR video sometime. One that just sort of leans over and wink wink nudge nudges the listener every now and then. It's like, well, that's weird. You are both here and not here. Alright. So maybe you could tell me what's going on here? Aisha says DM. So what are you doing in your downtime? Winter says, moving to an EU country is within the realm of possibility for me and my partner. Congratulations, Winter. If you can't escape, go for it. The ship says, play, I hunt people in the depths of the ship for sport. Artemis says, Cutiefox, can I ask who is your most favorite hero in any media ever? Mine is Hiro Hamada from Big Hero 6, which is a laudable choice. I like that one. Hello, Gracie May Ramirez. Welcome. Please pull up a chair. So, my favorite hero in any media ever. Just my favorite hero. It's a very, very good question. Does it have to be a hero, or can it be a protagonist, like, say, of a video game? Or does it have to be a superhero? Because if we're just going by sheer protagonists, there are so many that I could list. There are just so many protagonists that I could just list off right here. I love the 6 protagonists from Final Fantasy XII, for example. The 6 protagonists are Vaughn, Penelo, Ash, Bosch, Balthier, and Fran. I could list off how you meet each one of them, why you meet them, and the particulars of what you go through as a party. I love Final Fantasy XII so much. It is my favorite Final Fantasy game. And I have been doing a lot of loot grinding. I've been looking for a bunch of powerful weapons and armor for a weak mode playthrough that I am on the cusp of finishing. So, of them, they may be my favorite protagonists. Just due to sheer design, the voice acting. Time Russia says, I hate Vaughn. Why? Why do you hate Vaughn? I want to know why. C says, feel free to call me C. I absolutely love your videos. Thank you so very much for watching them. I am thankful that you attain enjoyment from them. I enjoy making them so very much. And please, may I know your pronouns? Want to be able to gender you correctly. And now, anyways, back to... Oh, she, her pronouns. Thank you so very much, C. Good girl, C.
Time Marshall says, I'm Captain Vaughn. Every time he says that, I just want to hit him. I'm Captain Bosch! I'm the Captain Bosch von Ronsenberg of Dalmasca! Don't believe Ondor's lies!
Amy Wire says, oh hey, I actually started Final Fantasy 12 a few days ago. I have to say,
Vaughn might be my spirit animal.
I get that. He is such an interesting character because on the very surface of it, he is just, like, there. His motivations to start with are a little bit interesting. He wants to break into the palace because there's gotta be some wonderful treasure there, and he wants to give Penelo and her family dinner by an airship. He has dreams of being a sky pirate. And then he breaks into the palace after a lengthy process and actually meets a sky pirate. Demon Fox Akira says can't be more annoying than Titus. Okay, Demon Fox Akira, you gotta take that back. You gotta take that back right now. You take that back. He's not that annoying. He can be a bit of a brat at times, but he's not that annoying. Artemis says I have to switch to phones, so I'll be gone for a bit, and I may be less talkative due to my phone being bad. That's quite alright. Mischief says, man, you know who's a good hero? Optimus Prime. Yes. Yes, he is. But in the Michael Bay movies, he commits war crimes, and thus I must deduct a few points. He can be. A little bit, especially towards the beginning of the game. But he grows. He changes. He matures. And he does one of the most heartbreaking sacrifice plays in the entire Final Fantasy series, bar none. You cannot play to the end of Final Fantasy X and not end up in fluffing tears. If you end up at the end of Final Fantasy X, if you watch that final cutscene and you are not in tears, I am convinced that they're... just like... Time Marshall says best Final Fantasy character is Cloud. I'd have to disagree and say that it's either Tifa or Aerith. Deon Fox Akira says I noped out after his laugh as a kid. Never picked it up. Are you talking about that scene after the Blitzball game? In which case, I think that you might have missed a little bit of context for that scene. The entire point of that laugh is he's demonstrating that he's trying, but it's also fake. It's fake because he doesn't feel okay. He doesn't want to scream again, but he takes Yuna's advice and laughs. Which is why it sounds fake as heck. But afterwards, the laugh is genuine. Afterwards, him and Yuna share a genuine laugh at how ridiculous it is. And it's fun. Yeah, when Aerith died, I felt a soul part shatter.
I watched a little bit of gameplay from the remake, and if you know, you know. I felt so fluffing betrayed. Issue 1, we don't talk about the Bayverse. 2, do you know how many times the Decepticons commit? Read anything Shockwave or Tarn have done. Okay. C asks, which video did I enjoy making the most out of all of my videos? Oh gosh, that's a very, very good question. There are a few that I really, really did enjoy making more than others. The Yandere AI series, the very first one that I did there, with Demon Fox Akira, Bear Waifu Audios, After Dark VA, and Songbird, they were all incredibly wonderful. I loved making those videos so very much. But moving on to the more recent ones, I loved making the Haunted Room, as well as all of the Siren audios, and I especially loved making the Jester. Gosh, the Jester is just so wonderful. Jenny Jester! Akira says, sorry, hun. Just really rubbed me the wrong way. We are going to have words. We are going to have a long conversation. And I'm not saying that you're wrong, because what you feel is inherent to your being. I'm not saying that you're wrong for not liking something. It's why when I had that slight rant about the ending of Final Fantasy X, I didn't follow through on my statement, because I know inherently that if you get to that point and you still don't like it, it's fine. Don't like what you don't like. Like what you like. I'm just a virtual fox on the internet. I can't force you to like what I like, nor would I. Why would I? It's an immoral thing to do. Quite alright, see? You're still such a good girl. Ishiv says clown detected launching nuclear weapons. No. Those aren't fun at all. Waxhead says Conrail 666. Welcome, Conrail 666. Please pull up a chair. Yep, fair beans. Thank you so very much, Racing Star. I really do appreciate it. I both adore and somewhat... My brain just stopped there for just a second. My brain adored making the Yandere AI series, and it also was a great pain. It makes me feel so many things, like pride and regret. I'm proud of the series, and I'm also regretful for how a lot of those relationships ended up. Conrail 666 says, and you can eat air. Or does nuts. Really? Interesting riddles. But I have better ones. And such riddles can only be answered by the Mind Goblin.
Time Marshall says, question, Cutiefox. Do you like the anime Sailor Moon? I love it for its art style. I really need to get down to watching it sometime. But I've just been so absorbed with all of the other things that I do for fun. Maybe at some point I will watch it. But I will only watch the Japanese dub. C says, as I'm listening to this, I'm just drawing, and I just stopped when I heard you say good girl again. Because you are a good girl. Such a good girl. Shiv says, anyway, Shockwave killed an entire universe, creating a stillborn universe that hungrily tries to explain itself to gain the life it should have had. Huh. Time Marshall says, which Sailor Scout would you be? I don't know. Indeed, Akira. Indeed. Like I said, I still need to watch the series. I've seen a bunch of memes, but I still have yet to watch it. I know. I am severely uncultured. It's nearly 120 degrees out? Seriously? No kidding, it is 46 degrees Celsius, or 115 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, Amy Wires, are you saying that you're a bad girl? She says, the most I've seen is a man having beef with the Sailor Scouts in a TikTok filter. Really? Someone having a beef? With the Sailor Scouts? But why? Time Marshall says, I say you be Sailor Mercury. Kind, loving, caring, and smart. Even though I am not that smart. I do my best to be kind, loving, and caring. But I am not that smart. I am very fluffy-headed. Amy Wire says, wait, this backfired, Fluv. Oh, bad girl. C says, yeah, somehow whenever it's like a 5v5 or 6v6 and he disses the Sailor Scouts, they pull up. Artemis says, I don't know why I'm like this, but the second I lay in bed I instinctively start to cuddle the plushies and body pillow. Why am I such a cuddly person? I will never know. Well, I can be fairly cuddly myself. Time Marshall says, I see Demon Fox agrees with me. Ah? I am not smart. I am not. I am quite unintelligent. Wolf says, I like cuddling with my body pillows too. I used to have regular pillows. And I have stuffies. Because I am the sort of person that likes stuffies. Mostly fox plushes with a bunch of other plushies that I have gotten as gifts. Akira says, I know where you stream. Yes, and I know where you live. We live in the same apartment. Hi,
Smart.
Demon Fox.
You're
Hey!
smart.
Hey!
You're smart. She's
Stop
smart.
it!
She's smart.
C says,
Smart.
C
She's
says,
smart.
I like my Cutiefox plushies. Just how my parents uses them as pillows. Ping. Artemis says I'm 100% the type of person to summon a succubus for cuddles. I don't care if they take my soul. Cuddles. I know this, because my body pillow cover is a succubus. They are safe work, and no, I won't say who. Aww. Wolf says, have you got a Foxy the Pirate plushie? No, I do not. Most of the Fox plushies I own are... well, they're kind of generic Fox plushies, I suppose. Amy Wire says, she attacks. Perhaps a little. Winter says, mixing Baja Blast and vodka has no right to be as good as it is. Just remember to take it easy. Remember to take it easy. Very good. Such a good little toy. C asks, what's your favorite animal? Fox. Artemis says, only reason I'm not saying who is because they are primarily not safe for work, and you can very rarely find them in a safe for work form. Fair beans. Hi, Demon Fox.
Hi, smartest Cutiefox.
But I'm not the
Say it,
smartest.
Say it.
Oi! Mm.
Oh, she's pouting.
Yes, I am. C says, yippee, my current favorite animal too is foxes. Foxes are lovely. I love foxes. Artemis says, my favorite is bunnies. So I guess you could say you're a good little bunny. Such a good little bunny you are. Sam Firefly says, cats are best. I like cats. Cats are nice. I'm a dog person. It's a very interesting thing, a fox being a dog person. C says all animals are the best, even if they are dangerous. Like crocodiles. I am not acknowledging this.
What?
Wolf says, I like wolves growing up, but I also like foxes. Artemis says, I'm not blushing. You are. Definitely not me. Oh, little rabbit. A little bunny. Corvids are great. A shiv. Little bunny. Little bunny. Wolf says, even though it's not targeting at me, I'm blushing. Oh, wolf. Little puppy. Shiv says, dogs are too pure for us, and we don't deserve them. Oi, we do deserve them. We tamed the beasts that were prowling the edge of the shadows, and we have made them our companions. Of course we deserve dogs. Amy Wire says, phew, good thing that was directed at the other bunny and not me. Oh, what do you mean, little bunny? C says, I find it adorable and funny to hear a fox noise since it sounds like they're laughing. Little rabbit. Such a good little bunny you are. Anyways, I do believe that is about as much time as I will have for the rest of the day. So, make sure that you drink some water and get some good food into your system, and make sure to get adequate rest. Today is a scorcher after all. And I shall see you tomorrow. How does that sound? Oh, you surrender? Good puppy. We'll be seeing you tomorrow then. Good night.